What up, everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe's X and O's podcast. Max and Nick here with you, and we just had our first. I guess you could just say they're all wild cards, right? We had a wild card weekend and some other playoff games, and I don't know, not too many surprise. I wasn't really surprised with most of them, right? I think more blowouts than I kind of expected. I think I saw a stat. I don't know if I tweeted it, but I think there was more teams in this first round of playoffs that lost by a large margin than has ever happened.
So I think that makes sense. I feel like I've seen or saw something similar. Because
there was last night? There was the that was kind of close. The Bills game, Kansas City game, and then I guess the Cardinals game,
yeah.
Where the margin of the games was a lot. It wasn't even close. I forget what it was.
So what's crazy is after the Cincy game, I was like, oh man, playoffs is gonna be super competitive, blah blah blah. And then then we get into the Bills game and it's like, ooh, okay, maybe this is the oddball. But I did see a interesting statistic, speaking of blowouts and things, that teams coming off of 4 or 5 touchdown performances in the first round, or multi-score, I think it was anything over 20 points in the wild card round, ended up losing in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because two teams that did that and came off of blowouts are playing each other. So I guess it's an even split there. But yeah, it was kind of crazy, man. Not nearly as competitive as I thought it would be throughout the wild card weekend.
I for sure thought that. I kind of figured Pitt would get. I was surprised they were competitive there in the beginning before Casey pulled away. I thought the Cincy and the Raiders game would be a little bit more competitive, and then I didn't really know what to expect from last night's Cardinals-Rams game. But my goodness, I'm gonna tell you right now, if the Rams can maintain that in the NFC, they're gonna be tough.
Yep,
they're gonna be really tough.
That was.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think, especially the
I'm sorry,
Rams.
I got breaking news here. I didn't know this is what happened, but is it Malik McDowell, I think is his name, from Cleveland? Did you hear about this?
No, what happened?
D tackle. Well, he got arrested. Apparently, there's a video. I didn't see it yet. I gotta try and find it. My buddy said that he was apparently naked running around Cleveland and he beat up a cop. It's what the fuck is he getting into?
The good shit, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, he was kind of good for the Browns. Also, breaking news, kind of. Last week. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna actually. Before we get in the games, I guess maybe we can break this down. This would be a good segue. But we talked about coaches last week. Well, we had 5 teams. So last week we talked about the Giants, the Bears, Miami, Dolphins, and Jags. Well, the Jaguars have they're going to conduct a second interview with Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus.
Yes.
And Ian Rappaport said the first of the I think he's supposed to be. He said at least 2 second interviews for the Jaguars. So I don't know. Is this you get a second interview with the team? Is that a pretty, I don't want to say for sure thing, but I mean that's kind of right. I mean, why would you waste your time interviewing someone for a second time? You know what I mean? But here's what's interesting. I don't have the list. There's only a couple defensive minded head coaches. I think who were in the playoffs. So most of them are offensive minded coaches. I think it was on Cowherd's show last week. I think he pulled up a chart showing everybody, and majority are offensive minded.
Yeah, I think we're looking at Let me see here. Outside of Leslie Frazier, I don't know of anybody else that is defensive. I know Raheem Morris actually just got requested for a couple teams, who's a DC in for the Rams. But outside of that, a lot of it's offensive guys. Kellen Moore. Oh, Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn from the Cowboys also getting some requests. And I think it seems like the Chiefs executive is getting a lot of burn for GM position. I forget what his name is. His last name's Pohl, I believe. And then also the Bills assistant general manager, player personnel guy, Joe Shane, is getting a lot of burn. It's been linked specifically with the Giants. He conducted a second interview with the Giants today. And it's been linked that if he does get the Giants job, that he wants to pull Brian Gable in as the head coach for him in New York.
Who's interviewed?
The Bills assistant general manager, Joe
really?
Shane. Yep.
So they're trying to pull everybody from the Bills, huh?
I mean, he's been linked to a couple different spots and he's done a few different interviews, but it seems like, the Giants one is the one that, is really the one that might be very interested. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, since last week too. So the Raiders obviously had a coach filling in.
Yep.
Obviously they lost to Cincinnati over the weekend. But they also fired Mike Mayock, long-term NFL analyst, was considered to be he was always the college guy, man. He was always the one that was like the one that I liked anyway. I mean, we have the other two that always do the mock drafts, but Mayock I always liked when he broke down players and stuff, and which is probably part of the reason why he got the GM job there. I don't know what's next for him, if another team's going to want to use him as a GM or not, or if he wants to go back to TV or whatnot. But this leaves another because you could make the argument it was great what the Raiders did with their I forget his name. They call him Coach B. Is that who took over?
Sort of special teams coordinator.
Yeah. So like even though they did well, I mean, usually, especially now that Mayock's gone, they're probably going to want to hire the GM. The GM's going to want his guy in there, so he's probably not going to get the gig, even though they are going to interview him. This is another team that has to fill a GM role and a head coaching role. So I expect it to be a pretty busy NFL here off season in the beginning as these playoffs kind of wrap up in the next couple of weeks, and interviews are already being done. I think some of the teams are probably going to have to wait until at least we got Super Bowl teams. That way they can interview everybody. But did we? Oh, we didn't throw the Titans in there, right? Because that happened afterwards, didn't it? I think so. Because the Titans just
what was that again?
Or not Titans, sorry, Texans. They just fired their coach the other day, right?
Yeah, so David Culley got fired,
and that's been a thing. It's almost like they had to have known, dude. Like when they hired him last year, obviously it wasn't their first choice. Like this to me seems like a situation where it's like you just brought a guy like your whole intention, it seems like the whole time was just bring a dude in for 1 year and get rid of him.
Like a one and done, right?
Yeah, which is I don't know how I feel about it. Like it's on one hand, it's like there's only 32 coaching jobs. So like if you're a coach in the NFL, like he's been around a long time, right? He had an opportunity to be the head coach despite how crazy that situation was in Houston with Deshaun Watson and everything.
Right.
So there's only one of, there's one of 32, it's an opportunity. So like you could say that, a guy like him was like, fuck it. Like I'll do it,
Right.
But yeah, but on the other side, it's like, man, it's like kind of shitty because it's, it's on your record, you know what I mean? And I honestly think if Tyrod didn't go down, I mean, they were kind of scrappy there in the beginning of the season. They might have had a couple more wins. They might have been like still a mediocre team based on like the talent that they have, but they might have squeaked out a couple more wins had that not happened, having to go to Mills, and Mills looked for a rookie, like he made some flashes, but still, like, he got thrown in there pretty early. But I just remember that Cleveland game when Tyrod went down, like, they were moving the football. They and even a couple of those games, like I said in the beginning of the season, they were moving the ball and they were kind of competitive and keeping things close.
Yeah, I don't know that it was really ultimately fair to Cully, but the move itself almost made it seem like this was kind of predetermined, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we're gonna intentionally make this move to make this a 1-year deal for this guy, and I just, with what he did in Houston, I thought he absolutely deserved more of an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that it was ultimately like really fair to him, but I think based on what I've seen and heard, it almost seems like as soon as they heard Brian Flores was like available, that they were like ready to make a move for him. So it could be that's why why they did what they did.
Have
It's
they
very possible that that's the case.
have they lined up interviews with him at all, or?
For Flores,
Yeah.
I have not seen anything on that front, but I think that's who they were targeting. Remember, the rumor was, there was that rumor that they were, really interested in Harbaugh. Oh no, that was Miami. Never mind. It was Miami that was interested in Harbaugh. Disregard.
Well, there's
But
probably
yeah, I think,
a few teams that are interested in him. I've heard Chicago. I've heard.
well, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but the big thing I think that Houston was trying to do is they, think about Deshaun Watson and what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson wanted out of Houston, but he wanted to get traded to Miami. And I think the biggest reason why he wanted to go to Miami was because of Flores being the coach there. So, you get a guy that it becomes available, and you might be able, and you could possibly salvage a relationship with Deshaun Watson and make him your quarterback. Like, I think you got to try to make that work. So I think that's why they were very interested in, in firing Flores, or not or firing Cully and bringing in Flores as soon as he became available. So it's very possible that is, one of the reasons, why they made that move after only one season with Houston. But, I just think that there's more to fix in Houston than, just from a head coaching standpoint. If Davis Mills is really the long-term answer for you as an organization, thinking that you're not going to be able to salvage the relationship with Deshaun Watson, then, I think you got to do whatever you can to really repair that relationship.
If you can, we don't really know.
We're assuming, we're assuming a lot here, right?
Yeah,
we are assuming a lot.
But fuck, after. If I'm Deshaun, I'd be salty too. After they got rid of Hopkins, it's like for nothing. Like, by the way, when they traded Hopkins, they got literally nothing. They basically just let that motherfucker walk for pocket lint. So, and then obviously, the Watt thing's whatever, but then, yeah. So Bill O'Brien kind of fucked them. So I don't know. We're gonna find out. It could be a last, like the last string that the front office can do in Houston to maybe try and keep Watson there. So I don't know. We're gonna find out. Haven't heard anything in terms of interviews for them. Do you think, and this will be a good segue into the first game I'm going to break down, out of the teams that are left or just lost, or just any other team in the NFL that hasn't, fired anybody, do you think that there's some other teams out there that should fire their head coach?
Well, it really depends on what could happen if they do. That's a really interesting question. If it means you get to keep Russell Wilson in Seattle, do you fire Pete Carroll and cut ties there? I think that's absolutely a possibility. Outside of that, hot seat guys, man, that's tough. The one question comes up, and it might be an interesting topic of conversation, especially with what transpired after or during the playoffs this week. Do you fire Mike McCarthy?
That's kind of where my segue I wanted to go, because that to me, that's like the first place I wanted to start with that game. I kind of called it all week. I just kind of had a feeling the way the 49ers are playing and the way Dallas are kind of frauds, man. So during this last season, right, the Cowboys were 0-4 and trailing by double digits, and they were also 1-4 when trailing by double digits in the playoffs since 2000, with the only win coming over the Lions in the 2014 wild card matchup. Also, if you kind of look through, let me pull it up really quick. We'll look through Dallas's schedule. You remember when they kind of started off, pretty hot. Like, this is part of the reason too. I kind of saw them collapsing, and I kind of jumped on that bandwagon early in the season, but Dallas honestly didn't really fucking play anybody. I mean, you got to think they're in a division right now where it's like pretty much dog shit. They lose the first 2 games of the season pretty close. I mean, 49ers beat them, and then they barely lost to the Buccaneers. They beat an inconsistent Chargers team, Eagles. This is the stretch where they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row. Beat the Chargers, the Eagles, the Panthers, the Giants. They did end up beating the Patriots. That was before the Patriots went on their little run. They beat the Vikings. It's a 1-possession game. Lose to the Broncos, handedly. Then they beat the Falcons, shit team. Then they lose Chiefs, Raiders. They go on another little win streak, but they beat the Saints, Washington, Giants, Washington. Lose a close game to the Cardinals, who kind of tanked at the end of the season there. We'll get into that game. And they beat the Eagles again, right? So, yeah, man, most of the teams, the divisional teams are not good, right? And they didn't, any of the teams that are in the playoffs right now, they pretty much lost too. So they're kind of frauds in that sense. And, it's not like they don't have talent. You can debate Dak Prescott and what kind of quarterback he is. But dude, I got to put it on McCarthy, man. I think when he left Green Bay and he was sitting there, and I know like he put that video together where he's like, "Oh, me and my team have been watching the game and we're evolving and blah, blah, blah." That was kind of like his pitch, right? To get hired again. And you got that opportunity in Dallas. And, I was kind of iffy on the hire to begin with, but I mean, he's going to what, year 3? This year 2? This was year 2, right?
Year 2. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's fair to question him right now. Now he's probably going to get another year to coach, and we'll see what happens next year. But it's also one of those situations where it's like, hey man, kind of like the Cardinals where, they got talent on the team, and I don't think they're living up to, I don't think they're where they should be. And I think you have to kind of put it on the head coach.
Yeah, I think it's a disappointing season, but you got to look at it. I think you got to look at it like where these teams were heading into the playoffs, and I think, I think the early parts of the season they were, really on fire, and as the season went on, I don't know that they really ever hit that stride you'd like to see before going into the playoffs. However, they faced a very tough matchup for them, and I think defensively they were a little overblown defensively. They have playmakers there, but when you're playing a physical team like what you played in, as the San Francisco 49ers are concerned, it's very difficult to overcome that. Now, I think you leave a lot to desire for game management aspects, and I don't know that Mike McCarthy's ever been very strong in clock management and just overall game management as a head coach. I think that's been a point of contention for him, even going back to Green Bay. But you made up for it because you had fucking Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback.
Right.
And if that's one of the things that you hope to see him grow and learn from, but it almost doesn't seem that way. What did you think about the draw call there at the end of the game? Do you think it was stupid
I heard people talking about it. I missed where was I when that game was going on? I think I was working, so I didn't get to see it. I'd have to go watch the clip, but this was during under 2 minutes, wasn't it?
14 seconds left.
And did they just needed to get a first down?
No, 14 seconds left. They had no timeouts. They needed to try to get into field goal range, I think was the goal.
No timeouts?
No timeouts.
Oh, fuck no. Well, so, how are they gonna be able to? I mean, I guess they could get to the line and spike it, but 14 seconds. I mean, also Dak's your quarterback, right? Like, I mean, he's athletic. He's not Josh Allen though. You know what I mean? So like, I
think in theory it's not a bad play, especially when you look at how defensively San Francisco lined up on that play. they covered all the sidelines and like they literally made like a box like around the field, and like really your only place to go at that situation is in the middle of the field. So like if you're talking about schematically, what can you take advantage of? A QB draw is an ideal play there, but you really gotta factor in the fact that Dak doesn't run any longer than he absolutely has to before, so that way you have enough time to spike the ball. You got to also you got to acknowledge the fact that one of 75 billion things could go wrong if you do slide with enough time to be able to get the ball to the official, have them spot it, and still have everybody lined up with enough time to spike the ball. So you're asking a lot. Like you're asking for your quarterback to make an appropriate decision. You're asking for everybody to be on the same page and run up and be able to spike the ball. Then you're asking for, God forbid the official trips on his way over to, there's just a lot of things that could have gone wrong there. With how they were lined up, how San Francisco was lined up, like, it was a gamble. It did not pay off. I don't know that is really you can't look at just that one play and be like, that's the reason why you fired the guy.
Yeah.
You got to look over the embodiment of, do we think with this coaching staff we can win more football games? And who the hell knows, man? Like Kellen Moore might not be there next year. I don't know that you fire him now. I think you look at who you replace this guy with if Kellen Moore doesn't end up. Shit, Dan Quinn might even get a job. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like those two guys might be gone next year. What do you do on the coaching staff? How do you bounce back? I think you still at least give them another year. But if it's like deja vu with similar game management mistakes, things like the one that got me was you run a fake punt, you convert, and then you leave the punting unit on the field for a minute of time. You know what I mean? Like to try to get the team, try to get San Fran to call a timeout and burn a timeout. Did you see this?
No. So they faked the punt?
I think it was like 4th and 3 or 4th and 4. They fake the punt, convert, but instead of bringing the offense back out, they hurried up to the line and lined up with their punting unit still on the field, trying to get San Francisco to call a timeout. And all San Francisco did was just sit there until the clock ran down, and then Dallas had to burn a timeout.
That's
It was
stupid.
wild. It was wild. So like, it's shit like that. Like, don't be a dumbass like that. If you do
Right.
shit like that next year, that really just says like, what are you doing, man?
And
Like you're trying to.
no, he's
I don't
coached for
know.
long enough to like, I don't know. That seems like a rookie mistake kind of as a coach.
Well, and no coach is infallible, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's been points throughout the season where Sean McDermott, like you want him to go for it on fourth downs and he doesn't. You want him to, make certain timeout decisions and things, and like you're not going to be perfect in that regard, but man, Mike McCarthy makes some boneheaded decisions sometimes, and it makes you think like when it comes down to it and it matters most, is he going to be at his best, decision making process? And as of now, like I just don't know. I don't know that I can trust that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that part of the game means just as much as how the players execute.
Yeah.
I don't know that the players were ever ill prepared, or how practices were structured and how things went during throughout the course of the season, like week to week. But you just get in game and you see some of this shit, and you're like,
Yeah. And like,
what in the world, man?
I'm wondering, with Diggs and they Parsons, like they have some good pieces on that defense too. So like losing Dan Quinn would be pretty big if he did go get another opportunity somewhere. And then even more like we've been talking about it, like he's been his name's been coming up a lot in a lot of these coaches searches. So like I don't know if he'd get an opportunity to be a head coach this soon. Maybe, I don't know. The NFL seems to, for whatever reason, just want new young blood in there. But I think if those two guys leave and Dallas is in a situation next season where like maybe they don't start off hot, it's a big season, I think, for Dallas. So I think the pressure's on next year with year 3 with McCarthy, like coming back. Like if they don't make the playoffs or just struggle next year, then I think there's going to be, I think he'll be gone for sure. Because even though the division's pretty shitty, I mean, I think with the way that the Washington's built, it's like, like we talk about that defensive line, defensively, they're kind of almost there. They need some pieces on offense to get going. And I think they could be a team like Cincinnati that can turn it around in one season and, take over that division. You know what I mean? So if the Cowboys can't take advantage of that now, then, again, it's kind of like before we start recording the question I brought up when we were talking about the Browns. But I think another question, like talking about coaches and stuff, watching that game last night, we'll talk about because it's still fresh. I didn't like when we talked about it on the show, actually. I think when the Cardinals hired Kingsbury, I kind of like scratching my head because here's a guy who never won the Big 12 title. People hyped up his offense when he was at Texas Tech, but like again, he never won anything there, right? He had Patrick Mahomes as quarterback, he had Baker Mayfield as quarterback at one point. Here's an interesting stat here. So Cliff Kingsbury ends the season as a head coach, right? Texas Tech, right? From 2013 all the way to 2018. I'm going to read it in order. He lost 5 of 6, lost 4 of 6, lost 4 of 6, lost 6 of 8, lost 6 of 8, lost 5 of 5 in 2018. Cardinals, 2019, lost 7 of 9. 2020, lost 5 of 7. 21, lost 5 of 6. So he's very consistent with these nosedives towards the end of the season. And like, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why that stat is the stat. And I think like it's disappointing for the Cardinals because of the way they started out, right? Like they started out so hot. That offense was like unstoppable. And then I don't know what the fuck happened, dude. Like they just, I don't know. They just, like I have no explanation. Like it's almost like when I came on here last week and was talking about how like the Colts took the most disappointing season away from the Browns just because of the way their season ended. But like, I mean, I gotta kind of question this too. And like Kyler Murray last night, I mean, you watched that game, right?
I watched.
I
I watched a good bit of it. Yeah.
I mean, dude, he looked like a rookie who'd never played before. You know what I mean? It was pretty crazy. So this is the first half numbers from Kyler Murray. He was 7 of 17 passing, 28 passing yards, 1.6 average, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And that one, the pick six that he threw with the 3-yard pick six, it was the shortest pick six in NFL postseason history. The previous shortest was a 5-yard pick six by Jack Squarick. I can't pronounce his name, of the Raiders in Super Bowl 53, I believe. Is that it? No. How do you read fucking? I can't read. I don't know. That the last time the Raiders were Super Bowl was 2002. So whatever fuck Super Bowl that was. So yeah, man, like I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. Emmanuel Ocho had a good. He had a thing. He said the Arizonas were. I watched his little video. He said the Arizonas were always good from afar, but far from good, and he kind of broke down why. But yeah, man, I don't know.
My dad texted me after that interception because he like kind of just like
that killed
through it.
Yeah,
he YOLO through it. He goes, "Hey, was that a Hail Murray?" Because of the Bills thing. He goes, "Oh, that must have been a Hail Murray," and I fucking lost it, dude.
That's funny.
I was dying. I'm like, yeah, it must be, but maybe that can go on the highlight reel for a whole year for Arizona.
Oh, it's gonna be. Sure. But I don't want to take anything away from the Rams though, dude, because like their defense was putting so much pressure on Murray, and like I don't know.
The problem is they didn't have a contingency. Like they had no way, to counter it.
Right.
And now I get it. You're missing DeAndre Hopkins, but like you got to come up with a plan. It almost just seemed like they had no continuity in any protection schemes. Everything was kind of jumbled up and mishmashed on the offensive, from a philosophical side. They couldn't run the ball to take any pressure off of Kyler whatsoever. And give Raheem Morris a shit ton of credit, man. He came in. They knew how they wanted to attack the Rams, defensively there, and they executed at a high level. It's just, but yeah, you can't get over the fact that Kingsbury kind of has, it's kind of his MO, like late season collapses. They were lucky enough this year that they had a good enough start where they can make the playoffs, whereas last year the collapse happened and they missed the playoffs. So
dude, had they like collapsed a little bit earlier, they might have missed the playoffs.
Exactly. So, that's,
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
It falls on the coaching staff. It falls on, just the ability to prepare. And I just don't like the matchup for them anyway, with the Rams, especially with the injuries that they sustained over the years.
And so I was also curious. So I was looking up data, right? And because we broke down like Flores with Miami and Miami letting him go, right? And I was kind of comparing the two because both have been there for 3 seasons. And the record's very similar, right? Difference being, which I think are pretty big differences. Flores came in and didn't have a set quarterback, ended up getting Tua, but then but in that time he was able to build up the defense, put them in a good position. And even though he was 23 and 24 or something like that, or 24 and 25 and wins, you could see the improvement in Miami and like how they finished the season strong and like where they were potentially going. But with Kingsbury, not only did he get the pick, he got the pick as quarterback. You got Hopkins in the trade for nothing. You bring in fucking Watt. Like you have pieces in play with the Cardinals. They have some talent, and still, you nosedive again in your 3rd season. So it's kind of like, why isn't this coach being held to the same standard that? And obviously, every organization is different, but like, does he deserve to have his job right now? Based on that, I mean, I don't know. I think you can make the argument. I mean, I'm telling you right now, Cardinals fans do not like Kingsbury. A lot of them don't. A lot of them want him gone. And a lot of the friends that I have that I don't know now. I don't know if that's a general consensus amongst Cardinals fans, but I mean, Cardinals fans, even leading up to this, have not necessarily, from my perspective, been a fan of him. So I don't know what they're going to do. I would imagine they'll look at that, and I don't know. Congratulations to Matt Stafford, though. Officially his first playoff win after 13 seasons. 12 seasons with the Lions, he had 0, and then he gets one with the Rams, and they were balling out. And I don't know, dude. I think the Rams are going to be scary going forward, man. I think if they can keep this up, especially with that defense, I think they're going to be okay. And now we got the Rams versus Tampa Bay, and everybody knows, if you get pressure on Brady, he doesn't do well. So if this Rams defense can go into that game, I'm sure we'll talk about it, and put some pressure on Brady. I mean, and play like they played last night. I think Tampa Bay is going to have their hands full, man.
What's funny is that I could absolutely see all 4 road teams winning this week.
Yeah.
Bengals over Titans, and Niners over Packers, Rams over Bucks, and Bills over Chiefs. Like, that could happen.
It could. I'm gonna bet the fuck out of it. I'm gonna
bet
it.
If that happened, that means Rams host Niners and Bills host Bengals. That'd be wild, dude. Holy shit! But I don't know that it's gonna happen. I know.
I hope Buffalo gets shut out Kansas City just so Nick Wright can fucking eat a bag of dicks.
I mean, yeah, me too. But fuck, dude, that's such a tough ask for him.
It is, especially when Mahomes doing Mahomes things. He threw 5 after the Steelers scored that defensive touchdown. He threw 5 passing touchdowns in a span of, well, hang on. Correction. Someone had to fix the stats. The span was 11:31, and it's the fastest in NFL postseason history. See how that was the fastest ever. So the last player, regular season or playoffs, to do it that quickly was Tom Brady in 2009, where he threw 5 touchdown passes in 9:44, and the Patriots beat the Titans in Week 6, 59-0. I just thought that was pretty impressive because I was watching that game and I'm like, dude, the Steelers fucking suck. Like they're not like they're this competitive right now, but I just had a feeling I knew that game was gonna take off, kind of how it did. I found that stat, by the way. So the Steelers lost by 21, Patriots lost by 30, Cardinals lost by 23 during this opening weekend of the playoffs, right? So this is the second instance in the NFL postseason history of 3 teams losing by a margin of 20 or more during the opening round of the playoffs, and first since 1982. So
damn,
pretty
it's been a while.
Pretty interesting stat there. But yeah, man, I don't know what the Cardinals are going to do. I think, as hard as people were on like Mayfield and some other quarterbacks, I think when you watch, like, let's be honest, like if Mayfield had a game like Kyler did last night, like everybody in the media would be just fucking shitting on him hardcore.
I know. I hate to be this guy too, but imagine if Josh Allen had that game.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nick Wright would be on there. Just fucking.
They would run him out of the NFL.
Right.
Same with Baker.
Yeah.
They'd do the same deal.
It's interesting. I haven't really heard too much, like it's been, maybe it's because Arizona's not a huge like market. Like I don't really know, like, but I haven't got to watch too many clips today. So maybe it is out there. Maybe they're waiting. I don't know. But we'll save the Bills for last since that was a perfect ass whooping. Yeah, I'll just piggyback on kind of talked about Kansas City already versus Pitt. I felt like that for Kansas City. I felt like that was kind of almost a bye week in a way. I mean, Roethlisberger's stats haven't been great. You know what I mean? I just didn't think they were going to offensively be able to hang with Kansas City. So I had some bets in that game too. I don't think I won any of them. I did win. What did I win? Did I put in so many bets? I forget like what I bet on. I won like a first touchdown score or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Kansas City still. Like, I think they're beatable.
Man, but they've been hot lately. They've been hot.
Yeah. They've been hot.
They've been on a stretch where they're going to be a tough team. They're a tough out. Yeah. And honestly, here's how I look at it. Winner of this game, I think, is the team that represents the AFC in the Super Bowl.
I agree.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City wins. They're the team that represents the AFC in the Super Bowl. If Buffalo wins, I can see them beating both Tennessee and Cincinnati, and I think they represent, the AFC in the Super Bowl. I really think these are the two quarterbacks right here in this game that are just the two most dynamic quarterbacks out of anybody that's left to the playoffs. Joe Burrow's great, but Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are guys that literally any play that needs to be made on the field, they can do. Plus, they're loaded with weapons. This game is gonna be like, I think this one is gonna be the game of the week. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Explosive firepower, very similar. Passing offenses is like, it's not similar schematically, but you got two fucking just studs back there throwing the ball. Whereas I think, in the Tennessee Cincy game, it's going to be Joe Burrow and that offense. Hopefully they don't make mistakes, but I mean, they struggled with the Raiders a bit, and Tennessee is not a slouch. I mean, they just find ways to win games. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I just
don't
don't
know.
know
That one scares me. I don't really know, but I don't know. We'll break it down. Let's talk about the Bills and Patriots a little bit. I'm going to play this little TikTok that I sent you. I just want to play the audio because I thought it was funny as fuck.
If the Bills, if they won the fucking Super Bowl, what's the first thing you're going to do? There's no telling. I mean, once I get about 6 of these, at least, in my hand, bro, there's no telling what I'm going to do. Buffalo will burn down if the Bills win the Super Bowl. And I can promise you that. Buffalo will burn down. Josh Allen's cock will be sucked insanely amount of times. By you? Oh, 100%.
I just thought that was so funny. I said that to you.
100%. Well, I don't know that I disagree with any part of that video. I mean, let's just. I need to reiterate to everybody how impressive of a performance this game was. Probably the most impressive offensive performance in postseason, maybe if not in NFL history. And the reason I say that is because it's never been done. 7 drives, 7 touchdowns, no field goals, no turnovers, no punts against the number 2 defense in the NFL.
Never been done ever, like postseason or regular?
Ever. No team has ever, at least when they started recording data, maybe in the 40s and 30s when they were playing football, but when they really started recording data, the first time a team has gone every single offensive drive outside of kneel downs, at the end of the game, every single offensive drive ended in a touchdown. There were no punts, no turnovers, no field goals. That was like the first time in NFL history that's ever been done. Josh Allen was 24 of 28. 25, 29, something like that. He only missed 4 passes. Maybe it was 21 or 25. 306 yards, 5 tutties, and 66 rushing yards en route to that offensive performance. 2 of the throws he made that were incompletions. One was a tipped pass at the line of scrimmage, and the other one was a drop. His adjusted completion percentage in the game was 94%. It was dominating, like from start to finish dominating. And, you can say, well, Patrick Mahomes had a fantastic game and that might have been a better offensive performance, but he threw a pick. Mm-hmm. I feel like they didn't score on did they score on every touchdown or every drive they had? I don't think they did. So it's like saying that the guy who threw a no-hitter but walked 4 batters played a more impressive game than the guy whose team who pitched a perfect game. Yeah. And they played a perfect, like, it was just absolutely dynamic. I actually rewatched that game like 3 times because I just couldn't believe it. Justin, they had more touchdowns than they had 6 third downs in the game. 6. That was it. Damn. They scored 5 touchdowns. That's like they had crazy. They never reached 4th down one time in the game.
That's pretty wild.
It was unreal, dude. I've never seen anything like it. That's why I watched it a couple different times. Like I had to go into mindset, here, let's take a look at this. Dude, they were efficient. Running the ball, passing the ball, made the defense's life easy. They got up early and it's like, all right, the Patriots are going to be one-dimensional here. Like, you know what I mean? And they just kept doing it over and over and over again.
And then you sent me the stat where for I can't remember what week it started in, but the rushing leaders
since week 13.
Allen, so Josh Allen's since number 7,
and Devin Singletary's number 4.
And that was one of the things that we questioned early on, where it was like, because the running game wasn't going, at all. So we were just kind of like talking about how, like, man, if they just had a little bit more of a running game, it looks like they've made that
in the last quarter. In the last quarter of the season, they've got 2 of the top 10 rushing leaders in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, one of them is the quarterback. But
I mean, if you see that list too, it's impressive because, like, Josh Allen's a quarterback, and like you see some of the other running backs on there, and you're like, oh fuck, dude.
Right. What really blew me away was Rashad Penny was number 1, which is fucking insane.
Yeah. I didn't even know
out of nowhere, dude. Like, thank God he fucking panned out, because as a first round pick, that would have made Seattle look ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like all the first round picks they wasted trading for Jamal Adams, but it's besides the point. Anyway, yeah, dude, like it makes them a complete dangerous team, and that's why I think this game this week is going to be that's going to be the game of the week. I can see Aaron Rodgers just punching San Francisco in the mouth. Them traveling from West Coast into the cold, frigid Lambeau temps, and just being able to beat the shit out of them. I can see, Tampa Bay absolutely going in and kicking ass against LA, or vice versa. Like, that game, I think, could be a landslide game. But I think this game is going to be just fireworks, bro. And it was very impressive. If there's one team that I think, if you're looking at how they've played down the stretch, and you're looking at, all right, hey, we got to play one of these guys, who do we not want to play? I honestly think the Bills are the team that you go, I don't know that I want to play this team. Because defensively, they're the number 1 defense in the NFL. And they've got an offense that can do what they did last week. And they can play that way. And it makes it a very dangerous combination.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. I don't know. Do you want to let's just get into breaking these games down. We'll start with Cincinnati versus Titans, since that's the first one.
This is going to be.
This game probably worries me. Like, if I'm I'm speaking from like a putting money down, right? Like, this game's the one that worries me a little bit. I'll see what the spreads are and stuff on these games. As good as Cincinnati's been, again, Titans are one of those teams where I've kind of like didn't really follow them much this year. Because after in the beginning of the season where they kind of like looked really bad, they got blown out, like I think by Cardinals, and then like I didn't realize they went on a stretch and like they were 11-4 at one point. I didn't know. So, because they're like, and they were also winning without Derrick Henry. They didn't have wasn't Brown out for a while?
Yeah,
a couple and receivers Julio, out.
Right. They've been out for a minute, right?
Yeah, dude, it was just crazy. Here we go. So since Titans are favored by 3.5, interesting. Not that big of a spread.
Well, their Titans are home, so it would be like a 6 point, right? Because you're oh no, never mind.
No, because Tennessee, the Bengals are getting 3.5 home,
so it's even. It's about even.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think so. Derrick Henry's back, right?
Yes.
Got Derrick Henry back. I think they're back to being pretty healthy. I don't know. I think offensively, that's the thing, though. I think when it comes to coaching, I mean, Mike Vrabel's a good coach, and he's a defensive-minded coach, right? Played many years for Belichick. I think he's probably going to have a pretty good game plan in place defensively. So I think just based on that, I'm probably going to roll with the Titans, even though I could totally see the Bengals maybe squeaking one out. But, like, I don't know. I still think Cincinnati, they had a good year. I think this is where it ends, though, kind of.
Your X factor, I mean, if you're looking at offensively, it's like two different philosophies, right? Like you got a grind it out, ground and pound, play action team in Tennessee, where your focal point is Derrick Henry, but they can beat, they run the ball enough where like play action becomes super effective just with Derrick Henry's presence there. Even though play action, you don't have to necessarily run the ball to be effective at play action, but like I think it makes it extra efficient because of what Derrick Henry brings to a game versus a team that's very balanced in Cincinnati. They can run the ball very well. I mean, Joe Mixon is 1,000-yard running back, rusher this year. They've got a dynamic young group of pass catchers, and Joe Burrow being what he is. I think what this is going to boil down to is can Tennessee get pressure on Joe Burrow and do enough to rattle him in the backfield? And really, I think the X factor in all of it is coaching experience, especially in playoff games.
Yeah, because Taylor's pretty young still.
Tennessee is going to, and Tennessee's what, 2-3 years removed from an AFC championship, appearance.
Yeah.
With very much a similar roster as what they had. So, I think when you're looking at edges on either side of the ball, like, that's kind of where I side. And honestly, if the Raiders can take the Bengals down to being able to tie it, like almost at the end of the game, I really think Tennessee can pull this one out and advance. I think it's just two different philosophies, man. Like it'll be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, they're like opposite team. They're opposite teams. Burrow's going to go out there and throw it probably fucking close to 40 times, and you're going to have the Titans who are going to be pretty balanced, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, we also don't know. We also don't know, like, obviously, Derrick Henry's coming back from injury, so we don't really know how well he's going to do. But he's had a lot of time to rest. The team is on the bye week in the playoffs. So I don't know. It's an interesting game. I'm actually intrigued to see how this game plays out. Every single game looking at this is close, right? The biggest spread is 49ers Packers, which is the next game. And that's Packers are favored by 5.5. So, and the over under is 47.5, and the Cincy game it's 47. So I don't know, man. 49ers looked pretty good against Dallas. They've kind of hit their stride. Who that running Mitchell? Oh, that's how I won. That's how I won money. So Mitchell, right, is their running back for the 49ers, right? I think I bet him the first four score of the game. That's how I won. I won like $80, and then I bet it all away.
There you go.
I just
like a true American patriot.
I put so many fucking and I hit half of them. It was like Sony Michel scored a touchdown. I put I think Cup, but then I also had like in one of them I had Kyler Murray to run it in. I'm like, oh, it's been a while, but I had Sackert scoring, that kind of shit, and the Cardinals just never made it fucking happen, and I was salty. But no, the green. So you're going with Titans or Cincinnati?
I'm gonna go with Titans in a close one.
Okay, I went with Titans too. 49ers versus Green Bay. I know you said earlier that you think you could see all the road teams, potentially winning. I don't know, man. I think Green Bay. Sometimes I feel like the bye can kind of hurt you if you're hot. Technically in the last game Green Bay played in, Rodgers only played the first half. But I don't know, man, everything runs through Lambeau right now. And I think Green Bay could advance. I think Rodgers can do his thing, because you got to think 49ers. I mean, they want to get pressure on Rodgers, and I highly doubt Bosa plays because he went out with a concussion. What's funny is they everybody, all the announcers get the Bosa brothers mixed up because they kept calling him Joey Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, man, it's not Joey Bosa, it's fucking Nick Bosa. And I thought it was kind of funny. But I highly doubt he's going to be.
I get how it's easy to mix it up though, for sure.
Yeah, no, I get it. They're both fucking yoked and look the same essentially. But yeah, I think Green Bay is going to be able to do enough to win this game. You know, if the 49ers can shock the world, then kudos to them.
Yeah. Like I said, I can absolutely see just Green Bay coming out and just like, you know, punching these dudes in the mouth and just going. But
because I mean, Green Bay is going to be a little different than Dallas. Like Green Bay's got their shit together. Like So yeah, I think Green Bay will be able to be fine, and it's going to be cold as fuck. So I don't know if you San Francisco boys are used to that kind of weather, because it's going to be in the negatives.
I think, you know, and plus it's travel, right? Like, I mean, you're moving. Obviously, you're not moving too far, you know, but
it's kind of hard to adjust. I feel like no matter, like now that I live in Arizona, even in that year that I came, because I came from, which I would imagine that the Bay Area is similar weather, right? I went from, now this was in December, I went from 75 to 30 degrees, and in a day it dropped to 0. And you know, even I don't know when they're going to get there. Even if you get there a couple days before, dude, it's not enough time to adjust. I don't know if you ever do fully adjust to that drop in temp, but it's a factor, man. I think this is the one home field advantage that I think actually is an advantage in the NFL this time of year, and that's what it is. Basically, just because all the NFC teams play in warm weather or in a dome, right? So I think will be a factor. It doesn't look like there's going to be any snow or anything, but just like it's just going to be cold. So we'll see. But then you could also make the argument the 49ers are built well because of the way they can run the football with Mitchell now. So yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. Hopefully we're done with the blowouts, because I don't want to see any more blowouts. I want to see some good, nice, close games.
I would like to see some close games. I think that would be a welcome sight. Now, I would like to see the Bills blow out the Kansas City Chiefs, but outside of that, I think I would like other close games.
Yeah,
no, that'd be nice.
Next game, Tampa Bay's favored by 3.
Okay.
Over unders 48.5. Again, man, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like if the Rams that played the Cardinals, if they show up and they play that defense, or not just Darnold, but there's another guy Von Miller Von Miller looked like vintage Von Miller last night. I don't know if you noticed. But between Von Miller and Aaron Donald, and then there's another D end that was getting some pressure and making Kyler run for his life. I can't remember his name. But I tell you what, if that defense can play like that, and I mean, you saw it last night, dude, like Cooper Kupp kind of had a down game compared to what he was doing most games, but then you had fucking OBJ step up, and he was taking some attention away as well. So it's like, and then by the way, Cam Akers, I kept forgetting, we talked about that, right? Last week where he came back from just so you guys know, like when you blow your Achilles out, it's like 10 times worse than your ACL. And the fact that, I mean, he's probably the first person ever to tear his ACL and come back and play in the same season, and being a running back. It's like, dude, like I don't know. I'd like to see how the doctors that worked with him, like how they explain that shit, and what they did, because generally speaking, I mean, it takes more than a year to come back from an Achilles injury. And I would say, like, depending on the position that you play too, probably plays a factor. And the fact this dude's playing running back, where you're able to cut and shit, not even just physically come back, but the mental aspect of not being scared to cut and playing off that foot is just super impressive. And he looks really good, even being out all that time. So yeah, man, I'm actually going to go Rams in this one. I think the Rams are going to upset Tampa Bay and send Tom Brady home.
Ooh, that's a big call.
It's a big one. I'm gonna bet it though.
Here's where where I could see that being kind of problematic is that which Matt Stafford do we get? Is gonna be the biggest thing.
All the away teams right now, if I bet $10 in this four leg parlay, it would be 385.73 straight up. If you took all the away teams on FanDuel.
Oh wow, okay. Well, I'm gonna go with who's the home team? It was Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay here.
All right. And then I don't know, this might not surprise you. So like the Bills and Kansas City game. The over under is 54.5, and then Kansas City's only favored by 2.5.
This is gonna be close, man. Like this is gonna be real close.
Good. They played once, right? This year.
Yeah, and the Bills won.
Bills won.
Yep. I think. I hate to do it, man, but I think I think Kansas City avenges them the early loss. They're playing really well. You don't really know which Bills team you're going to get here, even though they've been playing pretty well here as well. I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go with Kansas City in this one, unfortunately. But I think this could absolutely be a dynamite game, bro.
I'm going to live dangerously, and I'm going to take the Bills. And I think they're going to try and keep that Kansas City offense off the field and put those nice long drives together. Easier said than done, but I think they can make it happen. So, but yeah, when it comes to betting, I'm going to obviously do a bunch of different bets. So, I'd probably, in one of them, think about taking the over. 54.5. That's a lot of points. That is a lot of points.
Yeah, that is a lot of points.
Nah. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. That's a toughie. 54.5. I have to think about it. We'll see. Maybe I'll make some videos. I got the UFC's on. This is the first UFC pay-per-view of 2022 this weekend too. So like, I'm potentially going to lose a lot of fucking money. Just wait, dude. Just wait till you're allowed to fucking start betting shit. Because you're going to fucking bet hockey, and I hear about hockey's got the best odds, but I don't know enough about it that for me to bet on it yet. But when it comes playoffs, maybe I'll dabble, and maybe I'll get lucky off some beginner's luck when it comes to betting hockey. But I don't know, dude. I'm probably gonna do some crazy side bets like usual. I think I'm gonna parlay another anytime touchdown scorer. I'll probably pick somebody from each game to parlay. And kind of see, is there anybody from Buffalo that you think would score who is, let's see what the odds are. Basically, like to make it, to up it, like the payout, you kind of want to find somebody who's a plus, let's see here, like Josh Allen's plus 150. I want something higher than that. Anytime touchdown scorer. Beasley's a plus 310. Noah Gray, I don't even know who that is. That's probably a shitty bet. Buffalo's defense is plus 370. So if you tend to win 37, that's why you parlay it. So it's more. I don't know. I'd have to play around with it. But has Diggs scored? When's the last time did Diggs score last game?
No, he did not.
What about Knox? When's the last time he scored? Been a while.
He scored 2 touchdowns.
Did he?
Last week. Yep.
Oh, maybe he'd be one to throw in there. Cole Beasley's plus 310. He probably hasn't scored in a while either.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna play around with it. We'll see. I just, like I said, dude, it's addicting. I'm not gonna lie. It fucking, Luckily, it's almost over, and I can save some money here over the course of the off season. So
There you go.
Um,
that might be
but yeah, if you want to toss me some cash and have you put in a bet for yourself, you let me know and I will get that in, and you can share my pain with me.
I may have to do that, honestly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. I think that's all we got for today. Coming down to the wire. After this weekend, we will have the AFC and NFC championship games to break down, and hopefully your Bills make it for the sake of the show. It would be a good
sake of my fucking sanity.
It would be a good game to do Power Hour too, but unfortunately, I'm probably scheduled to work. I haven't got it yet, but if there's any chance that I didn't have to work, 'cause I'm off Friday. We'll see. It might just be a day where I suck it up and you and I do Power Hour for pregame.
I'm in.
And you said Joel's in town, so maybe you make Joel's ass do it. I know he's got babies and shit, but
no, he was in town last week, but this week it's just gonna be me.
Oh, got you.
So,
all right then. Well, never mind. We'll figure it out. But if you want to follow us, you can do that at AJXO Pod on Twitter and TikTok. Again, if you listen to the show, which you probably don't, haven't posted in a while on either platform. So I need to cut some clips up and get it going. So
amen, bro.
Until
amen.
then, also,
I should.
Now that you got your computer and shit, I need to log back in and maybe get that website up, and because it'd be cool to just write whenever,
Oh yeah, for sure. And now that I have this, I absolutely can. So
yeah, so we could write some sports blogs. I think that'd be dope. That'd probably help out a lot. So, and we can just push everybody to the website. So it's a plan. That's the plan. But until then,
plans. I like it.
We'll talk with you guys next week, and y'all be sweet.